Do you struggle with indecision? Because I feel like I have mastered the art of being indecisive. And for a while, that was okay, especially when I was younger and in my 20s, even into my early 30s. But now that I'm over 40, the indecision was starting to impact me, and I was starting to become aware of how much that was actually dictating my life. And there were a couple of key lessons and moments that helped me wrap my mind around what it was that I was doing, why I was doing it, what was the root cause of it, and then start to act in a more decisive way, which ultimately is serving me a lot better at this point in my life. So if you can relate to this, stick around, and hopefully the lessons that I've learned can help you on your journey. So, one thing that I heard a couple of years ago was that not making a decision is making a decision. So, for example, between the ages of 30 and 40, I was tormented about having children or not. And I wanted to live both lives. I wanted to be a mom and to have children. And I wanted to live the life where I didn't have children, that I was nurturing and cultivating a life for them. I wanted to continue nurturing my own inner child and finally becoming the version of myself that I am here to be and undoing all of that programming that we all take on. So I wanted to live both lives. So I was living the life of not having children, but I wasn't really living it because I was feeling this gripping, looming decision that I had to make to ultimately say, yes, I'm having children, or no, I'm not having children. And I haven't spoke about this publicly actually to my peer group, my friends, my personal Instagram. And that's because I really never made a choice. I didn't want to proclaim, I am a woman who is choosing not to have children for reasons that I still wasn't reconciled with that. And long story, this is kind of a diversion of just one way that this showed up in life, but it was a huge way that would bring me to tears all the time because I wasn't sure if I should or if I shouldn't. And so I realized that not making the decision one way or the other was by default choosing a path. I was deciding to not have them. I just wasn't decisively choosing that path. So it was kind of happening, which means my power was outside of myself because I wasn't taking extreme ownership and choosing, I'm this person, I'm having this life. It was being chosen by my lack of choosing. And that feels way different. And I started to realize that, and then it didn't feel good at all. Then I started to feel upset, like, oh no, what have I done? I've chosen a life of no children, but I didn't actually choose it. So I'm not even living this life to the absolute fullest that I could be living and realizing tangibly why I'm making that decision. I'm kind of stuck in this like shame, fear, guilt phase where it's just a cluster of should I, shouldn't I, and oh no, I didn't, and now it's too late, and what have I done? That's a terrible way to feel. And realizing that my indecision was a decision started to help me come to grips with I have to choose for my own sanity. Even if that choice is the wrong choice and I regret it later, at least I'm making a choice, and that would feel better to me. So takeaway number one is not making a decision is inherently making a decision. Another thing that I learned was the etymology of the word decide, which has to do with, and this is not the technical definition, you can look that up, but I remember the comparison to the word homicide, genocide, decide, and to like decease, was to take away something, decrease, and the cide, the root of that, to my recollection, had to do with ending something. So it was to kill off an option. So if I make a decision on who to marry, that's killing off the options of all the other people. And I also have not gotten married in my life, and I just never felt like I was ready to make a path for myself that included choosing one person. And personally, I was getting to know life in so many ways. Through meeting different people, I was getting to know myself, and I was getting to know the larger context of life, who I am, and what we're all doing here. So choosing one job never felt like right for me, and choosing one person never felt right to me, and choosing to choose the life of having children also never felt right to me. Now, I'm 41, so my perspective on those specific topics has changed quite a bit because I've allowed myself the past 20 years of the exploration that was really personally what I needed. I know my astrology chart very well. I have 3 planets in Sagittarius and a lot of planets in the ninth house, which is the home of Sagittarius. So there's a huge part of me that wants to experience life through experiencing life. I'm not rooted in wanting to choose one solid path and to do that. I respect and love people that do that because all of us are necessary. And those people create a foundation of the things that work and of our industry that allow people who are more built like me to do all of the exploring because we're not tied down to doing one thing in one way with one person. So I've learned to love this part about me and to not feel ashamed of it. And to each his own. I think I would have loved a life of being married, and I can choose that now. And I would have loved having children, and I can still choose that. I just know I would have loved it. But there was this indecision that was plaguing me because I wasn't happy with not choosing it or choosing it. And now understanding the etymology of what deciding means, I realized I love opportunity and expansion, and I love getting to know all the parts of life that exist. So if I choose this path, it means death to the other paths. And it does in a lot of ways. I cannot be everything. I cannot be a master astrologer if I only do it for 5 years. And that's okay. I don't have to master any one thing. I can continue going through life and choosing many different options, different people, different careers. But I started to understand why it was bothering me and what the real fear was, that if I choose this, I kill off all the other potentials. And I never felt ready to commit to certain paths in my life at the expense of never getting to experience the other potentials. And that's just what I've learned. So takeaway number 2 is that when we decide on something, sometimes that thing that we decide is the end of all of the other options. And sometimes not. Sometimes it's a temporary choice and you can choose differently in a year or in 5 years. Not everything is a forever choice, but sometimes it is. And I know that that was definitely part of why I was swimming in indecision on so many important topics in my life. A third thing about indecision that I've learned from a coach that I'm working with right now, her name is Alyssa Nobriga. You can find her on YouTube. She's an incredible woman and teacher and therapist and coach, and she has such a beautiful energy. And she has taught me that people who are scared to make a decision are often scared of something beyond what that decision will mean. So if I make a choice, it's not just that I won't be able to choose the other things and I will kill off the other options. It's that, what will this choice mean? There's a deeper fear beyond that. If I choose to quit my job and pursue being an entrepreneur, I'm actually scared I might fail. I'm actually scared I won't be accepted and I won't make it, or what will people think of me? So ask yourself this question: why am I scared to make a choice in this part of my life? What am I afraid of on the other side of that? It's a next step in further self-inquiry as to what would happen, and seeing, maybe journal, see that choice through, both choices if there's 2 or 3. What does it look like if I choose to have children that I might be scared of, I might be avoiding? Such a big topic, that the children in the marriage is such life-altering, forever choices, that I hesitate to use that here, because there's definitely smaller situations where indecision might be showing up in your life, which aren't so life and death. But those have been big ones for me where this has really come to the forefront. But to think of an example where it might be something smaller, what if it's choosing this job versus that job? Okay, I'm already here and I'm already comfortable. I know what I'm doing. It's known. However, this job, or leaving to start something on my own, this is really calling to me, but I'm scared. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. It's not that we're stuck. It's not that we don't know what to do. It's that we need to do further inquiry, because there's a fear behind choosing this. What will it mean? What will it entail? What will it ask of me? Who will I have to be to make this choice to leave this thing or start this thing? Whatever that is. Job, relationship, parenthood, even diet and lifestyle. If I want to lose weight, but why am I hesitating? Why am I not starting the workout plan? Why am I not changing my diet? I've actually done that quite a bit in my life, where I keep my weight manageable, but I'm not optimizing. Why? For me, I know the fears that are on the other side of that, and I'll leave you to explore that on your own. That's a video for another day about me personally. But takeaway number 3 is that a lot of times we're not deciding something because there are further fears and hesitations on the other side of that choice that we haven't yet taken the time to get clarity on with ourselves, and to say, what am I truly afraid will happen or won't happen if I make this decision? And that's why I feel stuck, because I'm actually scared that I'll choose the wrong thing, someone will get hurt, I will fail, etc. at the root of all of these takeaways and the various ways this has shown up in my life and that I see it showing up in people's lives that I work with and that I love is it's all about identity. Who will I be if I choose this? And I'm scared to step into that version of myself, or I'm worried that I will be leaving behind things that matter from me and others can't relate to me. It could show up in so many different ways. But the root of it is our identity. And that's synonymous with our ego. And our ego is so purposeful and it's here to help us survive, to be accepted. So I'm not here to knock the ego. That's silly. It's a part of us and we need it. It's just understanding when we let the ego be in the driver's seat versus our soul. And when we listen to our heart or we study our astrology chart or both of those things and we slow down and we breathe and we get out of the mind into the heart and into the body, when I think about staying in this job, I can feel the answer. Or when I think about starting or ending this relationship, I can feel the answer. But if the brain is really fast, it jumps in there before we have a time to acknowledge the feeling, the fears, the hopes. And honestly, this is our one life, at least in this body, in this version of ourselves. So it really is a big part of our life is making these decisions. And even people who maybe don't struggle with indecision because they are very decisive, they too struggle when they get to a certain point and they look back and they realize, did I make the right decision? Or did I even think about it? Or was it so instinctive? And so they have a different journey where they were so decisive that now maybe at some point they'll question if those choices were correct. And I believe they all were correct. They're here to teach us something in some way. I actually don't think there are wrong choices. That's another thing actually that's helped me is that there are choices. There are not wrong choices. Now, this one choice may not feel as good. It may have been choosing from ego and not soul, but yes, I still learned from that. And an image I got with that is like, our veins in our nervous system and our lungs and tree roots and the mycelium networks. There are branches on branches on branches on branches. So we can't choose the wrong path. We can choose a path that we don't love as much, that doesn't light us up as much, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. It means we're choosing something because in that moment, we're too scared. And we want to choose safety and comfort over expansion and discomfort. That's not wrong because if we don't like it and we come to that recognition, we can still change it. And then we get plagued with, I'm too old, I missed the boat, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. And that's another chapter for another day. I mean, that's really relevant and we all struggle with those thoughts as well. But the point of this video is to just talk about indecision itself, where it's probably stemming from, why I struggled with it and allowed it to dominate my life and maybe you. And I'm speaking from my firsthand experience because I know that's the way that I'm meant to transmit and to help others. You can learn from my mistakes or you can just feel that you're not alone in this. But I would like to leave you with just understanding that everything is okay, no matter how old you are and where you are in life. When we pause and breathe and realize, this is part of our journey. This is part of everyone's journey, is making decisions and then assessing if they were the right ones and then realizing that they're all the right ones, but choosing to learn from them and to move forward differently. If you're doing that, you're already light years ahead of living in an unconscious way. You are in the observer, you are looking at yourself and saying, is this right? What do I want to do from here? And especially as women, not to exclude men, but as women who are really so consumed with our appearance and our biological clock for some of these decisions, it can really feel like we missed an opportunity. And in some ways, we will. We can't do it all. It's not that you can't be a mom and a professional, but if you choose the life of being a mom as one of the biggest examples in my life and that I can even think of, that's a forever commitment. I mean, that changes you in ways I haven't even actually experienced, but I can appreciate how there's nothing exactly like that on earth that we can experience. We can mother, create, nurture, and birth projects, cultivating other people, lots of things. But the physiological DNA connection, quantum connection aspect of that, it changes you forever. So yeah, if you choose that path, you can never not be a mother. You can do other things, but that is a long-lasting decision. And vice versa. If I choose to not have children through my womb space to create humans, that is a choice that I will never have that part of life. Now, I can still, like I said, birth other things and experience fulfillment, connection, love, nurturing, even growing something outside of myself. I mean, I do take care of animals. It's not the same. I would never say it's the same. But ultimately, yeah, that's the sad truth, is that we do have to make choices in this life. We can do everything, but we can't do everything. Does that make sense? So I do really hope this has resonated for you. And this is the work I now get to do using astrology and coaching. There's a lot of universality to all of our problems. We have so much more in common than we do differences. If it would serve you to work with someone to hold space while you process the changes that you're going through, I would love to do that. But in either event, I really hope this video has helped you see that you're not alone, or maybe just see another crazy person out here living life and what she's going through, because we're all living life in our own ways and we're here for our own soul's journey and evolution. Everything is perfect. It's not perfect. It'll never be perfect. And therefore, everything is always perfect. We are where we are. Breathing really helps. Knowing that we're not alone really helps. I love you so much. And if you took the time to watch this video, I really appreciate it. Oh, and I'm a new channel, so I'd really appreciate if you would like or subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And definitely leave a comment if this resonates with you and if you've struggled with indecision or conquered it and you have advice for people too. I'd love to hear it.